Did you like the enchanting sand?
I love it, man. First, we have high adrenaline, which, by the way, is everything I needed after today's workday. And then we had enchanting sand. I love it. Fucking fantastic.
Borderline magic sand.
Borderline magic sand. There's all sorts of sand in this world, but the only kind you need is magic. So, welcome everybody to Weekly Whiskey here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We have one hell of a show tonight, but first, before we get into that, I mean, we've got some bourbon to drink. But how you doing, John? Good to see you, my friend.
Doing good. Good. Looks like everybody in the chat's fired up too. Let's see, Funeral just opened up his own bottle here. Looks like we're gonna tear into this.
Oh yeah,
everybody's ready to play turkey. I think
everybody's ready to get crazy. Should be a good time. I'm looking forward to this one. But before we dive in, if you're drinking something, sorry, I saw the Spirit Surveyor comment. John, you're rocking a fresh cut. I promise he doesn't get one every week. I can't tell you that it's not every other week. But you are looking fresh, my friend. You can see that I'm going for the long haul on haircuts here. But before we dive into our whiskey for tonight, let's go ahead and cover some single barrel news. Really exciting. Last week we dropped 7 barrels. They're all sold out, which is exciting. 7 barrels is no small feat to kind of thumb your nose at. We had some really great stuff. Super pumped for that. We had 2 Whistle Pig. We had a Knob Creek. We had a Nulu, and we had 2 Blue Note and 1 Riverset Rye. And I'm excited. We have a crazy week coming up yet again. Outside of turkey, our turkey barrel will be here not this week, but the following week. Our Kentucky Spirit is awesome. It should be here shortly. It's moving about the final steps of the system, although we did resolve our issue with the distributor and their shipping date, and our Old Forester through the Forester and Flames will be here before the end of the week. So definitely be checking your inbox. I think probably about Thursday is when Lottery Winner will go out, and then Friday the Overflow will pick up. I can't imagine there'll be much overflow for this one. So
no, I wouldn't think so.
Just for the record, so we did the preference survey. 7,000 people put the Old Forester as their first choice, so there's a little bit of competition there. But never fear, we have 2 more Old Forester coming in right behind it, thankfully. And just as of this morning, I got authorization that we have 2 more Wilderness Trail too. So our 420 barrel for Wilderness Trail is being bottled. They just finished up the labels. That'll be available soon, and then we'll have 2 more coming right behind it. So crazy times, good times. We have Starlight, Old Forester, and another Riverset Rye coming this week. It should be a good time, and I think that they're up some barrels. So what do you say? Should we start drinking some bourbon there, John?
We should drink some bourbon, yeah.
What's on the menu tonight?
Oh, yeah, we should probably address the 420 barrel for Pete. We'll make sure to set aside bottle number 69 for you, Pete.
Oh, that's a good one. I wanted bottle 69, but I think Pete basically owns it at this point. It was distilled on 420 of 2016, so it'll be prime. It'll be prime for this year, and it was bottled on 420 of this year as well. So it's a full 420 to 420. What do you call it? Bonanza shenanigans.
Yeah,
clam bake. Is that what the kids call these?
Bananigans, I think, is actually the right term here, Jay. Hey, look at the color on that beast, huh?
I mean, holy shit. So not to ruin a future episode, but this is some other bourbon, and then this is what we're drinking tonight, which is much darker. This is crazy. So what's the deal?
Okay, so we get Russell's 13. Their new, what did this retail? $69. This is their new, I think it's going to be an annual release, but the new LE Russell Reserve 100, what is it, just under 115. It's a 114.8 proof.
Yep.
And it should be pretty fun. It looks really nice.
If one thing is for sure, it's that the internet is going fucking ballistic over it in a way that I don't know anyone's ever gone like for turkey before. Like, yeah, turkey's picking up. Like, it's getting extremely sensationalized, but I have never seen someone go gaga for wild turkey like they are for this one here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a testament to what turkey's doing, but it's also, I think, a gigantic megaphone to the bourbon world. We're clamoring for limited editions, especially when they're priced right. I mean, at like 59 or 69 bucks. Don't kill me for getting that wrong. It hasn't hit here, so I don't know. Um, it's sort of almost all the things we ask for, right? I mean, this is like presumably barrel proof, 13-year age stated, non-chill filtered whiskey. This is checking off an awful lot of boxes there, right alongside the one that we pump the tires on frequently is Electric Greg barrel proof. I mean, 12-year age stated, uncut, unfiltered, and very available. I understand that that's not going to be in every single state, but nothing's available everywhere. So this is, I think, stiff competition. And if I was thinking if I would have grabbed an Elijah to put next to this, but
yeah, I mean,
this is definitely real.
It goes up against I mean, Stag Junior is another one of these that's around 10 years. It doesn't carry an actual age statement. So I think that it's wise to kind of leave it off in the bleachers. But those are those have been the big two of readily available barrel proof bourbon from the big boys, the Stag Junior, Elijah Craig barrel proof. This is clearly Turkey stepping up to, I won't say to confront it, but they've seen the appeal. 13 years is hefty. The fact that it's limited this year, but they say, it's kind of like rare breed rye where, it's going to come out every year, and we're seeing batch 2 come out and hit as well. But that definitely, came back, went, now it's back for round 3. I can't imagine we'll see anything less for this as well. But, just kind of, I've got my first pour, haven't had it yet. And I'm really interested to get into it because 13 years is pretty, I mean, it's pretty old for wild turkey.
Yeah, it's also, it's sort of what I've been personally, like, not so quietly demanding in my quiet sector of the internet here is like, I love Russell single barrels. I think that they're a great value for what they are. But there's times where I'm like, man, I just wish that they would take this a little bit older, let this get to 12, 13, 15. I would love to see some of these get. I want to know what the point is when it gets over oaked. Because, I mean, they put out the Bottle and Bond 17 for Master's Keep last year, which was plenty oaky and smoky, and it had a ton of complexity and a lot going on. But it wasn't bitter oak or it wasn't super tannic. I don't think it drew as big of a oaky note as some folks were thinking. And so I've just always kind of wanted more of that from Turkey. Like, let's let it get a little older. Let me just try it out. And if you think back to the first time Greg Snyder was on our show, he told the story about when he actually kicked off the Russell's Reserve brand at Turkey.
Yeah.
And looking at his spreadsheet, managing things there as the managing director for Turkey, he said the issue isn't really an inventory issue. It's an old inventory issue. We have too much old whiskey.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not a problem for these days. But if they're coming back around and starting to see their stock age well enough again to get into that position, I think it could be really exciting as a bourbon fan.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, really the only thing that this is missing to become like the perfect, thesis of what everyone loves is single barrel. And I think that this is good because single barrels at 13 years, I think, are probably flirting that line. So good, competent blending is going to hopefully keep us from that over oaked line. And like you said, Greg had a really interesting take on it, but Wild Turkey, it's weird because they believe that all of their stuff is best around the 8-year mark, right? Like if it's over 10, it's too oaky, but they do have tons of stuff hanging out over that age. And Masters Keep 17, I was worried would be a bitter bomb, and it wasn't. So I think it'll be interesting to compare to this one here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, even I was a little bit worried about the last Masters Keep because that's a lot of years on Turkey, which, like you said, blending and proofing. Well, it was going to be Bottle and Bond. So, I mean, they knew what the proof point was going to be, but as long as they're knowing that they can blend to that proof, I think that's a good way to release some older age-stated stuff. I would love to see more Turkey age statements. Put an 8 back on the damn bottle Turkey. I would love to see it.
Or give us like a 6, an 8, and a 12. Yeah. I mean, I think that we're on that cusp, right? Like they have scaled up production pretty significantly. We know this because they're throwing up brick houses. The 12-year goes into rare breed. I believe that quite a bit, especially as that proof is dropping, like Rare Bird is pointing out. You know, they have the older stocks. I think it's interesting to see where it ends up. Rare Breed obviously has fans that number in the armies at this point because it's really great whiskey. It's priced well. It's at Costco here for $40, which is kind of hard to pass up. But
Yeah, it's
you
insane
know,
at that price.
they have the stocks to give us these 6, 8, 13, 15. You know, I would love to see even, I don't know that I've ever had wild turkey that was aged. You know, the 17-year was about as old as I've seen it. And I've never had anything older than that. You know, like Buffalo Trace, we have like Pappy Van Winkle 23 to just see what it's like when it gets up that old. And I've never had that from turkey. So I think it'd be really interesting to see, you know, and these are good glimpses. Like we're getting glimpses that we've never had before, which is why this is just so exciting.
Yeah, getting to peek behind the curtain, so to speak, of what Turkey has going on is really, really good. I think, I'm a sucker for doing comparisons, so it'll be fun to line this up against. I don't know. I'd have to look and see what I have for Russell's Reserve picks. I don't think I've got much that's in the 10-year range now. I think I drank most of those, but it would be good to line this up alongside some of the Russell's picks that I've had and really enjoyed against things like WB Saffel
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other turkey expressions, maybe some Master's Keep stuff. And just like I think it was fun putting Master's Keep 17 alongside Elijah Craig 18 and just see some of the differences in some of these things and what lines I really love. I mean, I do the Elijah Craig comparisons all the time, but it's really fun to just kind of differentiate between each one. But what do you say we drink some whiskey?
Yeah, man. I've been stealing a little sip here and there.
Yeah.
Woo!
Nose on this is nice.
The nose is fantastic. And like, boy, is this, I mean, look, really dark, really
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is.
The nose for me is like extremely cola forward, which is something I don't typically get from wild turkey.
I get that in some of the picks. Geez, I want to say it was a Tyrone D, and there was a DJ. If you're tuned in right now, the Promise to Miss the Pork Chop pick that you had was that one was very had like a nice cola note in it for me. I see what you're saying here. I get like a little caramel corn too.
It's weird to me. Like it's both sweet and savory. So it's
it's
like root beer, cola, cherry Coke, and then there's almost like this kind of brisket note to it, which I don't typically.
Yeah, I could see the smokiness to it, and I could pick up that root beer. The CNF was the pork chop. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do get that sometimes. There's like this background dark citrus in there that's not coming through bright like it does in some of the younger Russell stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, this has a good, rich overall profile to it.
Yeah, and even some cocoa praline, so like really big, sweet, savory notes.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. I won't. It's hard to label bourbon as smoky because bourbon drinkers also typically drink scotch, and like smoky and scotch is completely different. But this has like
totally
those wood fire notes to them.
Yeah.
Like I think of like standing next to a smoker, or when I'm just starting charcoal and it's coming through those big kind of savory notes that aren't quite like peat or anything, but
no, it's not tannic. It's not bitter oak. It's not like burnt up charcoal, but it does have a char to it. I dig it.
Oh, this is very different on the palate.
You can really catch that age on that.
You can. Holy shit, there's a lot of oak here. Oh boy. I'm so curious what you think because I think that this is your profile.
It is. This is me right here.
This
There's good fruitiness
oaky.
underneath that oak.
This might be too.
Yeah, this is going to be oaky for you. It's got a lot of spice too. But it's got this nice, rich dark cherry under it too. And some of that mocha.
Yo, this is like espresso and like cordial cherry, which I love, like those cherry cordial candies. Even some like macadamia nut and like dark chocolate. Not like Hershey's bar cocoa. Like
no, like
Lindt
bitter,
90%.
Yeah.
But holy cow, that's a lot of oak. That is so much oak. That is so much more oak from 13 years. than I ever get out of the 17 years on the Master's Keep.
I don't know. I'd have to. I feel like I thought that there was a
Ooh.
more of a smoke char barbecue on the MK17 than this.
Oh
I mean, it's
man,
definitely got rock solid oak structure to it, but it's not. I'm not finding it to be bitter or off-putting. I mean, I like oak more than you do, anyhow.
I think it's the proof. I love the proof. It's concentrating things so strongly, but holy cow. I don't know. I like the flavors I'm getting, but this is super oaky to me. And like I think the proof is right. Like the viscosity is there. Like
Hmm.
the oak structure is well composed. There's just so much oak, but I love that dark cherry cocoa, kind of cherry note to it. But this,
Yeah,
I could smell this all day. I don't know if I could
I
drink
like
this all day.
I
Is
like
where
the
I'll put this.
spice on the finish, man. Like as the sweet notes, I get that like big hard candy caramel too that comes through in Saffel. It's not as sweet as it is in Saffel, but I'm getting that same type of underlying sweet, rich, bright caramel. And then after that, as that dissipates off, I'm getting a good layer of spice, like almost like a black pepper too.
Yeah.
It really does kind of round the bases from sweet to savory and checks off a lot of cool stuff in between. There's good layers of spice to it. I think this is it's pretty complex, and I think it drinks pretty nice. The proof
So
is definitely right on.
I like the nose and I like the finish. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the palate. The finish is
Hmm.
nice. Like it's got that spice drop. Like the oak is just so powerful on the palate. It's drying. I won't say that it's bitter, but I can feel it all over my palate. It's just super dry. The finish is really nice. It doesn't have that big bitter drying essence to the finish that I don't always love.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's really interesting. I I don't know that I would take this over like a really nice G that kind of balances all those things like a warehouse G, but
Hmm.
nose is intoxicating. Palate isn't super in my wheelhouse, but that finish like ties it together so nicely. Like that anise, that spice drop, that oak, that cocoa, that even almond bark. Really nice finish. That's well composed. That might be the best part of this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pieces in the puzzle here, which is good. I mean, if I had a complaint about Saffel, it's just that it missed the mark slightly on complexity. It's great. It's, you know, maybe 8 or 9 consistent great flavor notes that I pick up in wild turkey products, like especially like it's the ones that I like amplified, and those are dialed right up to 10. But there's like it could have been had a few more things modeled throughout it to sort of balance it more. And this I feel like has a lot of those characteristics that could have balanced out that Saffel in a really, really interesting way. Like I might go as far as to tinker with this with some of my Saffel, make a little blend here and see if I can, by raising the oak and spice profile in the Saffel a little bit, see if it completes that trifecta for me.
Yeah. Whew. I mean, the nose on this is fantastic. I'm trying to think of some of my favorite wild turkey products through the ages. Like this is, and I dare say this is a unique profile for turkey, which typically does not have a very unique profile. Like, yeah, there's variance between warehouses, there's variances between limited editions, but everything tastes like turkey, right? Everything, if I gave you 10 samples and 4 of them were turkey, John, I bet that you could 100% pick out those 4 and be like, this is turkey. Like you
Mm-hmm.
probably, if you could tell me what warehouse, that'd be incredible. But like, turkey always has that essence. And this on the palate almost kind of deviates from that a little bit where it's so rich and cocoa-y and fudgy that it kind of gives up that spicy, I always call it that like orange peel kind of old fashioned note that I get from wild turkey. And I think that that's really exciting, but holy crap, that's a lot of oak.
So you would like it if it were 15 years, you think? Dial up the oak just a little more.
It's so hard, like 15 years and 110 proof. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I'm gonna, I just got that fancy pipette. I'm gonna tinker with the rest of my sample, I think, later and add some water, see if that opens things up. But like, I'm not saying I'm not a fan.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, nose is intoxicating. The finish is really well constructed. It's a little too oaky for me on the palate. I think that this is gonna push this to on par or below of maybe some of my favorite picks, or like, even some of my favorite Masters Keep, which are shockingly easier to find than this. Like, we've got one or two we've been talking about, like Decades, or Masters Keep 17-year bottled and bond, but
Right.
it's hard to shake a stick at this. Like, I'm glad that Turkey put it out. It may not be my profile, but I think a lot of people who have had to find this profile from other brands are just going to go absolutely ballistic for it.
Yeah, I think really this is right up my alley on exactly what I like.
Okay.
I don't know where I put this with their LE stuff. I think it's a really, really nice pour. It's not at first blush moving me quite the way that some of their stuff has.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I like everything about this. DJ brought up a good point here about the prices that people are paying for this thing is just ridiculous. But I feel like that whole market is a product of the environment that we've created, right? I mean, if we weren't all together increasing the demand of this stuff, it wouldn't happen. People wouldn't be willing to pay more than retail for it if there weren't guys doing what we're doing right now, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
every piece of this is a little bit more gas on that fire. But I think it's a good sign. Not that there's a secondary market, but there's so much demand for great whiskey and that brands are able to do it. So if the demand was not there for something like this, an age stated older barrel proof expression, we wouldn't be seeing, like, Turkey's not just going to put together something for the hell of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And when they want to, bring something to the market for more or less for the enthusiast crowd, I love seeing it.
Yeah, and I think that this highlights 2 points about Wild Turkey for me that I think are worth speaking to. And the first off is that, everybody with this release is complaining that suddenly everybody has picked up interest in Wild Turkey, right? Like, this is, I won't say that it's extremely hard to get, but, like, you can't just walk into Total Wine and buy one of these. But for years, people have bemoaned that, like, oh, Turkey, they don't get the attention they deserve, or Turkey is completely underhyped, and and Rare Breed is so much better than all these other things. And, like, those points are completely valid. Those points are true. But, like, now we're on the other side of that coin. Like, Wild Turkey has released something that, quite frankly, on paper is incredible. And I don't think you can fault people for being extremely jazzed about that, especially, people who have, vocalized that Wild Turkey is, just not getting the recognition they deserve. On the other side of that coin, though, I think the secondary numbers on this totally make sense. Like, I am not surprised that this is fetching, $300-400 secondary. It's 13 years age stated. It's barrel proof. It's unchill filtered. These are all the things we expect to see out of other huge heavy hitters in the market. Like, even, this is just 2 years off of what George T. Stagg is. It's not single barrel. George T. Stagg is going for way more than $400. So, the fact that Turkey is finally seeing their releases go up and play ball on the secondary, I don't think is the worst. It's showing that it's receiving similar adoration and that the market is viewing these releases as similar, which is something that I think Turkey fans have also kind of taken, some offense at. Is that, like, Buffalo Trace products get all this crazy attention. Why doesn't Wild Turkey get these? Well, it's here now. I think you're probably silly to pay $400 for Russell's Reserve 13 unless you love that oak. But to me, the price, there's a lot of things on secondary where the pricing makes no sense to me. And on secondary right now, what these are selling at, I can see it. It makes sense on paper. It's there. Whether people love it or they're even opening those is a different story. But I think the features line up with the numbers, as heretical as that sounds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on most of that. I think that the secondary market in and of itself it's a problem that we as whiskey enthusiasts created, but I think it's a stupid one. I mean, whatever. People are going to do stupid things with their money. So if they've got more money than brains, just watch them, I guess. I mean, I feel like a huge section of the Wild Turkey crowd are dudes who have sort of been standing on top of the fence for a long time yelling, hey, how come you guys aren't looking over here? And now people are rushing that fence, and the turkey guys that were on it are now kind of hiding behind it like, oh, shit, I think they spotted us.
Especially and it's just since, like, the fence, I think, is made out of, like, popsicle sticks, right?
Right, man. Like, the focus is everywhere now, and no brand is quote unquote safe. Everybody wants everything, and the demand is going to be there until the supply matches it. I don't know if that'll ever happen or not. I know everybody's trying to get there, but right now with the amount of folks willing to pay stupid money for whiskey. Get a helmet.
Oh yeah. I mean, and this is a kind of the rare side of a great problem, right? Like Wild Turkey has done a great job at pumping out tons of whiskey. Sure, up until recent years, like no one's given a shit about it, but that's changed. You know, if you try hard enough, you can snap 25 Russell's Reserve single barrels in a year, which I think is great. Like you can't do that with Eagle Rare anymore. You can't
Right.
do that with some of these other brands. So I think that it's a great opportunity that, like, sure, Russell's Reserve 13 is being tatered, it's being super hyped, it's being chased by people that previously haven't set their sights on Wild Turkey. But that also means that those people who only care about Russell's Reserve 13 are also leaving a lot of what's great about Wild Turkey on the shelf for people that care about it. So, we're seeing Wild Turkey kind of get swept into the modern era of having to be concerned about secondary for things. And
Yep. The rush is already here. It's upon us. Just get a helmet and get ready because it's not going to change.
Yeah. But, for a product like this, like, it's not a bad product. It's not the same as like Weller Craft Your Perfect Bourbon, where I was like, you know what? This was extremely crowd goes mild. Why are people paying $800 for this?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. This totally makes sense. Do I love that if I want to buy a whole bottle, I need to spend $400? No, but I'd feel better spending $400 on, two of these than paying $800 for a single Craft Your Perfect Bourbon, which is watery and bland and all sorts of stuff. So I'm in between a rock and a hard place with the secondary on this, but it definitely deserves it. It's definitely like an extremely well produced bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a great job with this one. I like it. Yeah. And the more it sits here, the more I think the nose is. I think it's getting a little bit more fruity for me here as we go through. It's good. You should like it more than you do, I think. I'm gonna have to adjust your score for you.
Joel asked a great question. This is tough. I like this. This is definitely on that line for me. I would buy one of these a year to have them around because I do have things that I think are too oaky that I'd like to come back to. I'd like to really be introspective about the way my tastes are changing. I used to really like oaky stuff. I notice it less and less every year. This is certainly not bitter tannic. It's not like some of those Texas bourbons where they're just, where the oak influence is just absolutely aggressive and punishing. I would absolutely buy this at $70 all day long. I'd probably buy a couple of them, gift a couple. I think it's good stuff, but it's definitely a mood pour for me. And this is, I won't say that this is over oaked, like this is aggressive oak, but this isn't too far gone for me. So, if I'm sitting around and, this honestly, I think would pair great with a cigar. Like I have a hard time finding whiskey when, every, God, I don't know, 4 months when I just decide to have a cigar, like no whiskey I own can like stand up to just how aggressive that cigar smoke is. I think this would be great. That oak is going to hold its own. It's not too bitter. It's not too nasty and dry, but, you're not going to see me buy, if you could hypothetically buy these every day at the grocery store, this would not be a daily drinker for me. Like I'd have to sit down and be like, yep, I want Russell's 13. And this isn't that for me, personally speaking.
That's fair. I'd buy it. I drink this fairly regularly. This is a profile that suits me nicely.
Drinking this screams everything that I think that you love about bourbon.
Yep. It checks off an awful lot of boxes for me.
Like $70, like that really nice oak to it, all the other stuff. This seems like a Henderson A+, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, just going by initial taste, I don't think I would rate it an A+. I like it, but it's not moving me incredibly. I think it's really good, but
sorry, I meant like A+ on compatibility. If this was like eHarmony with whiskey,
yeah.
Like, you guys
here's the email. You got a match. I guess that's how it works.
I don't know. It's been a long time. Maybe that's like a new service, like batching you with bottles, but in like eHarmony style.
Do you have to marry the bottle?
I don't know. We should talk about that off air. I don't know if that's gonna be a make or break for some people.
Fair enough.
But overall, I don't know. We're coming up on a half an hour here. What are your if you had to put this in a sentence, what would you wrap up with on the Russells here, my friend?
I dig it. I think this is a very complex and balanced pour. I think the Masters Keep 17 and 17 Bottle and Bond are more complex. There's more in them, but there's more things, but not in a more balanced way. This might be the most balanced turkey product I've had.
Okay. Very cool. That's I wouldn't say I disagree with you. I think we're pretty close there. I like this. This is definitely the most tannic wild turkey I've had, but it takes all of those things and it's well integrated. It's complex. It's not a one note product. When I'm in the mood for it, I can see nothing else scratching that itch. But I can see that mood coming every couple of months.
Works for me.
Ooh, and a hiccup.
No hiccups allowed, actually. We banned
That's
those last week. Yep.
I never get a hiccup. But I like it. I think it's absolutely worth $70. I think people, if you can try it for a reasonable price, do it. If this is everything that you ever wanted, I think you could spend $400 way worse on the secondary. But overall, like, kudos to turkey. People have been clamoring for this. I wrote an article a long time ago that said that this would break the internet because this is exactly what turkey fans have wanted for a long time. And I think that they delivered. This is a quality product. It isn't the perfect product for me, but this is everything that turkey fans have wanted. And I think that they crushed it. I think they did well in that respect.
I wanted to grab that last question. Sorry. Is there a product from another distillery that you think is pretty comparable to this, or is it really unique? If you couldn't get this, there was just zero chance of it, and don't fucking buy one for $400, like Jay said, that would be fucking stupid. But if you were looking for something close to it, just buy a Russell's Reserve single barrel, because you could tell that this is the big brother to that. This is the Stag to Stag Junior, sort of like. It's obviously very, very much the same product, just dialed up a little bit more. I don't know if I would compare it directly to something else. It's not totally dissimilar from Eagle Rare in its maturity and the background of fruit flavors, but it's exponentially more complex. Like, I don't know. If you put together maybe like a Russell single barrel and a little bit of Eagle Rare 10 in there, might be getting a little bit close to something comparable, but there's nothing quite like this one that I've had.
Yeah, I would say the same. I would prioritize a great Russell's Reserve single barrel. Honestly, I'd look across the aisle. Beam 12-year Knob Creek cast strength bottling, I think would be a fun exercise. Clearly, the profiles aren't going to be the same. No. I don't know of anything else. I mean,
I've had some Knob Creek picks that kind of lean in this direction in being a little bit more fruit forward or a little bit more char forward. But I mean, the difference between the Knob picks and the Russell's picks are usually pretty stark. I mean, for something that is actually fairly similar in profile, I feel like those picks usually kind of have a divergence point in them where they're it's pretty clear to me one way or the other. I wouldn't put this on par with any Elijah Craig barrel proof I've had. I don't think. I mean, there's a lot of similar notes in there, but they come through in a different way, or perhaps at a different volume. Mm-hmm. Playing the same song in a different key, kind of deal. Like, yeah, you could pick up the melody, but it's not quite the same thing. I feel like that's kind of how it is. Like, there's nothing quite like this.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I don't think that Four Roses. I think Four Roses profile is an extremely contrast, to this profile. I think Russell's, I mean, it's hard to say anything other than like throw it, but Russell's Reserve single barrels, I think, they'll get you 90% of the way there most of the time. And also you can buy them and also you can afford them. And for everything else, pick up an old Knob Creek and call it a day. I think that's going to get you close enough where you won't be disappointed by the difference.
Yep. I think that's fair.
So, I mean, we've spoken pretty exhaustively to it at this point. I would say if this is everything you have ever wanted and you've never broached a secondary, this is the thing to buy. But don't encourage the practice. I don't think, and I will be completely transparent. I have offered to pay a secondary to get one of these because I thought it would be impossible for John and I to find a bottle to cover. So thank you to Rarebird 101 for giving us both samples so we could drink this. Otherwise, I would 100% be throwing down secondary just so we could go ahead and taste it and have some talking points to it. But, the secondary is its own weird problem. I doubt people are counterfeiting yet, but they're going to soon. So lots of risks, not worth it. I would say don't do it. or if you do it, do it with someone you deal in confidence. But that's all I got. You got anything to close this up, John?
No, I think we're good. We covered this thing nicely. It's a good product, and I'm excited to hopefully get my paws on a whole bottle of it here because, unlike you, I will actually drink it.
I mean, I like it. I just it's like an every month thing for me, and I cannot wait. Like I shit you not, I cannot wait to go get my auto pipette and start adding 1 milliliter of water, 2 milliliter water, 3. See how things change. But overall, it's good. It's just too oaky for me. I think I'm gonna stick with my 9 to 10 year Russell's picks and thank God, because that's not a typical conclusion I come to. Like, this is my wallet is just like bless right now. But for once for once in the history of buying alcohol, my wallet feels a little bit safer.
Good. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, checking out the video here. Join us again on Thursday morning for a little after hours session here. You never know what you might see on there. It'll be more of this. So get ready for a comparison. I don't want to give the whole thing away here, but it'll be a good comparison coming up Thursday as we compare this to some other delicious products. So catch us on Thursday for that. Jay, you want to go ahead and take this thing home, and I'll hit some buttons here?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you to my button pusher in chief over there. If you were looking for more from John, first off, thanks for tuning in and watching us tonight. If you're looking for more from John, you can find him at the Bourbon Finder on Instagram. You can find him at the Water Fountain in the meantime. Mm-hmm. And after that, you can find him at thebourbonfinder.com. He is churning out really great reviews, comparison series like he was talking about. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batch comparisons is a big thing for him, and I expect that you can see some great King of the Hill regarding this bottling as well. So go ahead and check him out. Really great guy. Lots of awesome content. And if you're looking for more from me, I'm Jay from whiskeyraiders.com. We are your Rotten Tomatoes for whiskey. You can check out whiskey reviews, articles. We're covering a lot of news and new bottlings to see how the whiskey world is reacting to them, rating and seeing who is trending up and who is trending down. For those who missed it, Scottie Pippen just started a bourbon brand, which is super interesting. So we'll go ahead and follow that. But in the meantime, go ahead and catch us again on Thursday morning for After Hours here on Weekly Whiskey. And it's been great to have you join us. So thanks for joining. This has been an awesome dram. Thank you again to Revered 101. And go out there and drink your turkey responsibly, folks. This is
cheers, guys.
It's a good one. Cheers.